and he's a prolific cataract and refractive surgeon. We have with us Dr. Ajoy Paul, all the way from Calcutta,
and then that will allow
he's
you
again
to
an
add
amazing
your
cataract
tags
and
there
refractive
as well.
surgeon, and
So once you
he's
have
going to
that
open the
part of it
innings
set
for
up,
us today.
I
We have
recommend, I
Professor
strongly
Samuel Maskett from the US,
recommend
who has
that
been nice
you
enough
do
to join us
private
today, and he
stream
will be
first, or
our
an unlisted
international
stream that you
expert
share with
panelist
friends,
and
so that you
helping
can,
us
make
to
sure that
go
your
through
audio
these
is
take-home
synced
messages
up,
that we're going to have today. We have Dr. Ron Yaw from Singapore, and he's no stranger to our webinars. He is good friend of our Indian meetings and webinars, and has always been very supportive. Thanks for joining, Ron. And we have Dr. Rohit Om Prakash from Amritsar. He is the organizer of the very popular winter meetings of the IRSI at Amritsar, and again a great surgeon and a pioneer. We have with us Dr. Kendall Donaldson from the US. Again, she's going to show us some amazing videos, and thanks for joining us, Kendall. She's been recently back to her surgical work in the US, and will share tips on how we can do it better.
Then once your stream
and
is over,
we have
all
with
you have
us
to do is go back into
Ashwin.
OBS.
Again, Ashwin is our star speaker from India, who has been pioneering lots of new techniques all the way from Chennai, and is one of our most well-represented speakers in the international forums. We have with us Dr. Saurabh Patwardhan, who's again a young, dynamic surgeon, keeps coming up with all the new techniques, which we would love to hear from you. We have our experienced past president of the AIOS, Dr. D. Ramamurthy, who's again a prolific cataract and refractive surgeon, and will be sharing his wisdom with all of us. We have with us Professor Mahipal Sajdev, who is not only the president of the All India Ophthalmic Society of India and very keen academician and surgeon, but also the chairman scientific committee of the IRSI, and one of our strong men of Indian ophthalmology. We have with us Dr. Namrata Sharma, secretary of AIOS, the Iron Lady, as I like to call her. She's always coming up with she's so hardworking. I was speaking to her 2 days back that, you're during the lockdown, you've probably started working even harder for the society and for ophthalmology. Thank you, Namrata, for joining us. We have with us Dr. Kamal Kapur, who is again one of our dynamic surgeons from Delhi, from the Sharpsight centers. He's an excellent phaco and refractive surgeon, and again pioneers lots of new techniques. We have the president of IRSI with us. We are lucky to have Dr. G.S. Dhami from Ludhiana. And he again has been, my teacher in many ways for so many new things that I've learned. We have Dr. Krishna Prasad Kudlu, again a very good refractive and cataract surgeon from the beaches of Udupi, and he's again been a very, very prominent cataract and refractive surgeon in office. And I hope I'm not missed anybody, but I missed Sri Ganesh. I'm sorry, Sri. I was trying to go through the maze of all the things, and I think you moved up the order. So I'm sorry for missing you. So last but not the least, we have Dr. Sri Ganesh himself. He's again a big innovator, a pioneer. He's a smile trainer, training so many other people in so many things. So we are so lucky to have Dr. Sri Ganesh with us. Again, I'm hoping I'm not missing anybody, but please excuse me if I have. We are joined by an amazing panel, and Dr. Kumar, my colleague and dear friend from Mumbai, who's again from the Doctor Eye Institute, the Doctor, and famous for his phaco videos and his LASIK training programs. So Kumar and me are going to lead you through this. We have some amazing cases lined up for you, some amazing pearls which will bring you home lots of messages, things that you can adopt. And without wasting any more time, we will invite our first speaker, Ajoy, to please go ahead and start with his presentation, and then we'll have a small discussion. We have a comment section as well, so please feel free to keep sending in your questions. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube and several other channels. And besides that, we have the J&J Johnson & Johnson channel, which is streaming on I think Web 365. The link is there, of course, which you would have got, and you can put in your questions there. We will also keep taking on polls for which pearl you like best. So our audience is happy to participate in our discussions as well. So Ajoy, there goes. It's all yours.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, IRSI, for inviting me in this. Thank you, Amar, Dr. Mahipal, and Dr. Dhami. Well, this is a unique webinar, and I'm proud to be in it. and we are going to have some international and national top-notch surgeons. 2020, that's the topic. What am I doing differently? And I'll be focusing on subluxated cataract. As you know, subluxated cataracts are complicated or challenging situations. First of all, are you going to do them in 2020, or almost we haven't done anything for the last 50 days? But yes, probably down the line, probably for first 3 months, probably won't be touching except when they are, they have vision threatening, like the lenses come in the anterior chamber or lenses on posterior chamber. But these cases probably can wait. I just suggest some of the ways that I would innovate to get the least complication. The manual capsular is what we have been doing. Most of the way managing central foldable monofocal IOLs is what we have been doing. The railroad technique of putting in the CT set COME has been a part of the way we, but then we had to have our agonies with capsular axis almost a third of the case, I would say.
Ajoy, can you pause for a moment? Dr. Ajoy, can you pause for a moment? Ajoy, can you pause for a moment?
Most of the time. And
Ajoy? Can you pause for a moment, Ajoy? I think, there's problems with the internet connectivity. So your video and your sound is coming like staggered and broken up a little bit. So if you want to switch off your video and just stay with your presentation, that might help a little bit. And, maybe you can just go back a little bit on your video and show us again, because we lost some of your, we could not see it. So can you please go back a little bit? In fact, right now your screen is frozen. So yes. I don't know if, I think we've lost him. Have we? Maybe I don't see him.
The internet connection issue, sir.
Yeah, so I think we've lost him. Maybe what we can do is, and in fact, his screen is shared, so we'll have to ask the admin to, disconnect his screen from the system, and we'll probably take him back. We'll take him back.
30-40 seconds. It will take 30.
Yeah, we'll take him later. So maybe we should go on to our next presenter, and let me check who is next on our list to present. Okay, Saurabh, are you ready with your presentation? Backend team, can you please switch off Dr. Ajoy's shared screen and...
If video freeze, it will take 30-40 seconds.
Okay, we'll wait for that much time, and we are sorry that I think India is having a storm, thunderstorm at many places, and probably the internet connectivity is a little, fluctuating at several places. That's what we've been told. So please, bear with us for a few seconds, and I'm sure we'll have...
Yeah.
Okay, Ajoy is back.
Yeah,
so,
I'm
Ajoy,
back.
Would you like to... would you like to share your screen again and start off with your video? Yeah.
The audio is much better.
Is it?
We can see you, but we don't see your video yet. So
I think somebody else is already sharing.
No, it's actually your screen only, which is still shared. It will take a few seconds to go away. The admin is going to disconnect your screen sharing. Yes, now it's gone, so you can upload your screen again. You can share it. Thanks, Ajoy. Yeah. And thanks all the audience for bearing with this. These are the ways of the new way of living that we have.
I think, when did I miss?
Okay, we have it, Ajoy. Let's go ahead.
You have to start from the beginning.
You'll have to start from the beginning because we missed your videos. So please start again. Yeah, thanks.
So subluxated cataracts, as you say, in these trying times, are you going to do it, as we had said, and probably wait?
Request you to just stop your video and then...
Dr. Ajoy, can you switch off your video because that is taking away some of the bandwidth?
Some sort of vision like the lens going anteriorly. Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Now.
Yes, better now. So you can hear me? Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Please play your video.
Hello.
And you can switch off the audio from your video. That will allow us to hear you.
Okay.
No, we've lost the screen sharing now.
No,
Can
you're
you
not sharing.
share the screen?
But I can't see my video again.
Oh, so we don't see your screen sharing right yet.
I
think
start and
Ajoy,
bring Ajoy back.
So what we'll do is, Ajoy, we'll just come back to you in 15 minutes. I think there is some connectivity issue, and maybe we can ask Dr. Saurabh Patwardhan to start his presentation.
No, you can, Jasminder, I think you have to come in because I can't see my video. I can see it running.
No, so your screen is not shared, Dr. Ajoy. That's why you can't see it, Your screen is not shared at this time.
Saurabh, you can get it?
I think, yes, you can try. And Ajoy will take you right after Saurabh if things are working out fine. And maybe till then, Jasminder can help you with, yeah.
Yeah.
Saurabh, if you can. Okay.
I will share my screen now.
Sure.
And,
sure.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks a lot, Dr. Gaurav, for inviting me for this talk. And I am quite fortunate to speak amongst those whom I have seen and I've learned from them a lot. So I'll be sharing few pearls of, which I am doing little differently in last maybe couple of years. As I also train fellows and some of the trainees, I think apart from this, of course, which we are all doing, I think recently, since we started OT, what I'll be sharing might be very basic for many, but I think it helps a lot of youngsters to learn, and maybe it will help them to make their surgery a little bit easier. So this is the first pearl which I learned. This has been already published by Dr. Zoen. And here, instead of the standard two-step bend cystitome, what I'm using is a three-step bend cystitome, so which makes it more ergonomic. And for doing CCC, particularly from the main incision, what I realize is that many young surgeons do not have good control over the cystitome, and then the visco tends to leak from the main incision. So if you have this kind of three-step bend, then what happens is that when they are putting the system through the incision, the anterior lip of the incision keeps tented up when they are doing CCC, and that avoids the visco leak, particularly when you are using methyl cellulose, which we commonly use for our phaco procedures. So I think this I thought was useful for me. Second is the visco press test. So many times when I used to get this kind of white cataracts, I used to operate in such a way that considering it is an intumescent one. But nowadays, what I do is that first I inject Hylucoat, which is similar to Viscoat, and what I look for is the anterior capsular flattening. So in this case, for example, as I injected the Viscoat, I found that the anterior capsule became flat. So even when I touched the anterior capsule, you can see the flattening all around the cystitome, which was much more. And this happens if the intralenticular pressure is quite normal. So if you are having, and in 3-dimension, it can be even better experienced by the surgeons. But once you see that, you know that the intralenticular pressure is normal, and then you don't have to do the other maneuvers like doing the intralenticular aspiration, and you can get good CCC even without doing that. But in case the intralenticular pressure is quite high, as you can see in this case, when I'm injecting Viscoat, you can see the pupil is a bit dilating mechanically because of the Visco. But if you see the anterior capsule carefully, you will find that though it flattens little bit, but then not as much as what happened in the earlier case. So in this case, it is definitely there is an increase in intralenticular pressure. So in such case, I go ahead with my stepwise technique of making the cruciate incisions in the center and then aspirating the intralenticular matter so as to reduce the intralenticular pressure. So once I nick the anterior capsule, and I have noted that the anterior capsule has not flattened despite injecting the Viscoat or Hylucoat, indicating high intralenticular pressure, I start aspirating the intralenticular cortex. And once, because for these cases it is must to avoid any extension of the CCC. So I remove the fluid pockets from all around by aspiration, and then I stroke the peripheral cortex to the center, flattening the anterior capsule completely. And once I know that the anterior capsule is flat, then I go ahead with the completion of the CCC. So with this sign, I know, and of course you can watch them more carefully in pre-operative period, but this is the intraoperative trick that I use.
सर कंटेंट दे देते हैं
The
सर, वो भेज
third
दो
trick I would like to show is in a small pupil. So many
कल
times
भेजोगे.
during the surgery or the pre-operatively, the pupil is not dilating, and we get a lot of these pseudo exfoliations in our area. So when you have this non-dilating pupil, putting the toric IOL and later reorienting it in the axis sometimes is quite tough, particularly in old people where there is also senile meiosis. So what I do is that I take a 30 gauge needle and I very gently touch the surface of the lens, very gently, so that it just creates kind of a small scratch mark, which is very fine and visible only at high magnification. And once I do that, this is like an extension of the existing toric marks. Once I do that, these marks help me to easily, orient the IOL once even in the small pupil. As you can see here in this case, the small tiny 2 marks are the ones which are helping me, while the original marks are barely visible. So particularly for very small pupils, this technique has really helped me. Of course, recently Dr. Sri Ganesh sir has elegantly shown another technique of marking, which is really good. And this is the another thing which I am doing differently last maybe a year or two, which is I call it like a GPS cataract. We know that markerless systems are there, but they are of course quite expensive. So not every ophthalmic surgeon can afford it. But when I took demo of this system, what I really liked is that it gave me the exact 180 degree axis. And it helped me better prepare for the incisions, because I think the incision position makes quite a difference in the post-operative outcome, refractive outcome. So when you have a cornea like